Hello everyone, welcome to my channel ASP.NET Core, and today we are focusing on library management system. And this management system is actually need for online purpose because lots of user asking me that questions. Is it possible to handle online library management system? Yes, it is possible because here we have a login screen, and that login screen will use both user and administrator online. And after admin can log into the system, you will see that is the types of options like dashboard, members, I mean to say that users, books, magazines, newspaper, issued newspaper, as well as magazines and the books, and the returned, not returned, and the actions like logout features, etc. So if you have focus on the books, you can say that there we have the lots of options like add new books, print preview, save CSV file into the books, filter options, and just show all. And the books actually entered in this with this field like ISBN number, book title, book type, author name, quantity, purchase date, edition, and the price and the pages. Okay. The next one is the members list who want to buy book, or you can say the rent the books like member ID, name, contact number, email, passwords, and you can say that the contact number and addresses. So here we have some filter options like add new members, save CSV file, filter, show all. Now the next one is the newspaper. So newspaper we have languages of the newspaper, name, date of the receipt, date published, pages, price, types, and all features are available in the newspaper. And here we have some additionally filter options. Similarly with the magazines and issued books, we have this types of things: add new books and print preview, save CSV file, filter, save all. And here we have who issued the books, so the member ID and book ISBN, book title, issue date, return date, and the status that is available, returned or issued. Okay, so here we have a returned status is also visible on the screen, and also we have the book number, book ISBN, book title, issue date, return date, and status. So let's get started. Design a new library management system in ASP.NET Core. First of all, design a web project, and in the application, that is the UI project. Then after, we will divide the project in entire architecture. So in that case, we will use library project, class library project. And if you want to know about the library management system, you know that a library management system project can be a great way to improve your programming skill and build a useful application. So if you want to define library management system project, then you have to define the requirements. First of all, start by defining what your library management system needs to do. For example, you may need to create a system that can add, delete, and update books, manage user accounts, and track borrowing and returning the books onlinely. So the second one is to choose a programming language and framework. Decide on the programming language. Just I'm going to choose that is ASP.NET Core C#. Framework you want to use, build your library management system. And the third one is the design the database. So create the database schema that can store all the necessary information about books, users, and borrowing history. Fourth step is to create an user interface. Develop a user interface that allow user to interact with the library management system, that is the UI part. This could be web application or desktop application depending on your requirement, but here I'm using web application. The next one is implement the functionality. I mean to say that is the business logic layers. So here I'm going to design first of all entire architecture in it here. So model is created, repository is created, view model is created, utilities project is we will create it. So here you can say that the next one is the LMS.services project. In the services, we will define the particular, you can say that issued books and looking like that is the domain information. That is the domain driven design. Right here I'm going to design. So here we have. Now the next one to implement the functionality, like write the code to implement the functionality of your library management system. This may include creating forms for adding and updating books, creating user accounts, and managing borrowing and returning of books. The next one is test the system. Test your library management system to make sure it is working as expected. Look for bugs and issues and fix them as necessary. Now, next one is deploy the system. Once you are satisfied the functionality of the library management system, deploy it to the server or cloud platform so that user can access it. Next one is the maintain the system. Keep your library management system up to date and maintain it to ensure it continue to meet the needs of its users. So that is the criteria to design library management system. So here we have, these are the layers of your library management system, like that models, like repositories, services, utilities, view models, and the web. The next one is to add application user class, and you know that application user class is actually inherited from identity user class, and identity user is actually existing in the package, that is identity package, Microsoft.ASP.NET Core .identity.entity framework core. So you know very well. So the next one is to add the package, and in the repository you have to add ApplicationDbContext class, and also ApplicationDbContext class is actually inherited with the IdentityDbContext class. You know that. And the next one is to add a scaffold identity, but before going to scaffold the identity, you have to add the super class or the base class, you can say, in the ApplicationDbContext class. Okay, so if you want to know about ApplicationDbContext class, so if you want to know about entity framework core, you can say that entity framework core, the dbContext class is a key class that enables you to interact with the database. It represents a session with the database and allow you to perform various database operations such as querying, inserting, updating, and deleting data in the books. So this is the system ApplicationDbContext class I am going to here we have to use. And application user class is actually contains some basic information of the user, like username, email, passwords, and that is the identity user that is already existing in the identity user. If you have some fields related to the members, like contact number, and also contact number is actually have in the identity user, so there is no need to add some extra fields in the application user class. So let's go to the discuss about ApplicationDbContext class, and you can say that it's a library management system. So you can say library context class extends the dbContext or identity dbContext class included dbset properties for the book entity or the category entity in the future. The constructor takes an instance of dbContext options as a parameter, which specify the options for configuring the dbContext. Okay, you can customize this library context class to include other entities and configure various aspects of the dbContext, such as the database provider, the connection string, and the database schema. But here I'm not going to add it here, because that all things are actually existing in the app settings as well as program.cs file. So you can also use the dbContext class to define relationship between the entities and perform more advanced database operations such as transactions and stored procedures. So these all are about. Okay. So the next one is to add some NuGet packages in the project. So here we have. So the NuGet package is identity, and the correct package of the identity is Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.identity.entity framework core. That is the latest stable. Just you have to install it. That is 7.0.14, and that library management system, you know that it's a very useful project for every organization, every educational organization. So in models folder also you can add application user class, and application user class is actually inherited with the identity user. Oops, here I'm writing actually application DB context. You can see that it's actually all the code is related to the application DB context. So just removed it from here and add that code in the application DB context. And you know that where the application DB context is exist, and in the repository project of the data directory. And you know that application DB context have a constructor with the DB context options. Inside the options, you can just say that your connection string is actually initialized that the base class, so that DB context is actually mapped with the database table. Or you know that the context is actually a ORM, that is object relationship mapping. And you know that model is prepared, that is application user class. Application DB context is prepared. Now you can just add new scaffold items for the identity also. And also you have to add, and there is an identity project. Scaffold that identity because everything is prepared. But right time, now I'm not using actually application DB context. Just I'm going to write it here. You can see that that is the default. So just create it, and user class is actually not exist. So first of all, add the user class, and you can say that in the web project you have to add the reference, okay, of the models folder of the models project, you can say. So just click to add reference as a project. Now right click on the dependencies folder and just add the models, as well as you have to add the repositories also. Okay, so here we have a dependencies. So dependency is actually added. I mean to say that models project as well as the repositories project. Now just I'm going to add the next one. We have two models project. Just I'm going to add again identity in the project. So just right click on the project name, on the web project name, and just you have to add identity in the project. And identity I mean to say that it's a membership program, and you can say identity is a storing user information in the form of authentication and authorizations. So provide a wonderful feature to the project, that is authentication and authorizations. So data context class is that your context class, and the user class is like that. So here we have a application user class, and you know that identity is actually currently running. Okay, now identity folder is actually added successfully. Now the next is to, first of all, if you have any complications related to the identity, just you can just expand your areas folder and just also expand the identities folder just under the areas. So here we have a program.cs file, and you can see that add default identity that with the application user class, and just change the application DB context from the connection string. Just I am going to add application DB context that is actually exists in the repositories project. So here we have a lms.repositories. Now the next thing is to just open the app settings file, and here you can see that just open the program.cs file also, and here we have a appdb context. Add default identities like that. So just I want to add identity that is application user. Okay, so here we have a application user with the identity role, and you know that application user is actually existing in where, that is models project. So add identity with the application user and identity role. So you know that add identity is what? Add identity adds the basic identity service to the application, such as a user management, password policies, and token management. And it allows customization of the identity options and the services, such as the user class, password requirement, and the token lifespan. Add default identity is a simplified version of add identity that provides a default implementation of identity service. So instead of add default identity, you have to add identity service with the roles. Okay, so application user and identity role is provided right here. Now the next one is to add a new directory, that is seeding. Okay, so under the utilities folder, you have a new folder that is seeding, and just I want to add IDB initializer interface, where we have a single method that is initialize. On the initialize method, we have three things. That is a user manager, that is role manager, and also we have a application DB context that is communicate with the database directly. So user manager is actually add a new user and add role into the user, or you can say that assign role to the user. And role manager is actually create a new role, and you know that DB context is actually check who is actually database migration is done or not, either done or no. So here we have a code of the DB initializer, that is public class DB initializer, IDB initializer, where private user manager and user manager use actually application user class default, that is one, and the role manager is actually use identity role instead of any other role features you have to add. Okay, okay, so okay, user manager is an application user, role manager is an identity role, and the next one is the application DB context. Okay, so here we have to add a new package for identity, that is, you know that identity is actually existing in where, so just you have to add it first of all. So search the package by using the browse tab and where your identity package is located. Here we have Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.identity.entity framework core. Okay, so here we have a lots of error during adding the project NuGet package. So, but there is a no difference. So first of all, resolve the issues. Microsoft.ASP.NET Core is already existing in the user manager, and the next one is application user. So in the constructor, you can also use application user for the as a dependency injection. Get pending migration is also available in entity framework core. So context.database.getPendingMigration.count is greater than 0, so that context.database.migrate. Now the next one is the role manager. So role manager.role exists, that is website role, and you know that a website admin, the default role is the admin. If it is admin is created, then you can say other role is also created. So first of all, not exist role manager dot role exist website role dot admin. So just create a new static class website role, and that is the static details. So static class website role, and after that you have to add some roles in the form of constant. So add it. So here you can add public const string and role name, that is website admin. Okay, and other you can add it here. Okay, so here we have a admin. Okay, so here we have website roles, that is the default roles, website admin and website user, and you know that that is the library management system. But here we have some users that I want to create online library and online music library. Also we have to create a new project, that is music stream, where you can just start the music stream, but now it's related to the books. So here we have a website admin and user who want to buy the books and who want to rent the books. Website admin, that is admin, and website role, website user, that is user. Okay, so try context.database.getPendingMigration.count is greater than 0, context.database.migrate, and the role manager.role exist async website role.role website admin.getAwaiter.getResult. Okay, if it is exist the admin role, that is not created, otherwise it is created. Now just create a default user by using the user manager class. So user manager dot create async new application user manager email, and user manager create async we have a user as well as the passwords. So that's fine. Now here we have a public interface IDB initializer, public constant string, and all. Okay, so here we have a Microsoft.ASP.NET Core like that is the program.cs file. And here just I'm going to add a DB initializer interface to inject in the IOC, that is builder.services.add scoped. IDB initializer, DB initializer, add scoped in the form of a unit of work. Unit of work is actually not implemented right now. So later on I will discuss this. But here I'm going to add a DB initializer. Also you have to add seeding methods, and just after the routing so here we have a void data seeding, and just after that you can use data seeding. Okay, data seeding is there, and okay, So builder.services.add scope is their IDB initializer, DB initializer. And now create a scope and just get the required services, that is IDB initializer, that is service, and just you can call the initialize method. Okay, now after that you have to create a new utility class for the email sender, because the default token generated email class is throw an exception. So first of all you have to create and implement it, but that is the partial implement right now. So here we have a public class email sender that is implemented from email sender, and email sender we have a single method, that is send email async. In the send email async, just send task.completed task. That is the return, that is not implemented right now. Later on I will implement it. So task.completed task. Okay, so here we have a builder.services.add scope, IDB initializer, DB initializer, IDB initializer, DB initializer, email sender, and email sender. Okay, so here we have a new dependencies injected here, that is email sender for the email sender. So now after that you have to add generic repository in the project with their interface iGeneric repository, and iGeneric repository is actually inherited with the iDisposable, and you know that generic repository have a T, where T is a class. And here we have some methods, get all, get by ID, with the some built filters, iQueryable, iIncludable, disable tracking, add async, add range, etc. So here we have a builder.services.add scope, email sender, and the next one is generic repository, and that generic repository is actually implemented with the iGeneric repository. And you know that generic repository is actually use ApplicationDbContext to handle the database events. Okay, so that is the generic repository, and that is implemented by the T, that is T is here we have a class, and you know that ApplicationDbContext context and internal dbset with the dbset. So generic repository initialized the ApplicationDbContext in the constructor. So here we have a dispose method, that is dispose all the located resources, and here we have a add method with the T entity, and dbset.add entity. Exist method, here we have a filter equals to null, return dbset.any, and add async, delete async, context.entry.entity state, entity state.detached, and the next one is delete range, list of T entity list, remove range. Okay, the next one is get all method. Here we have a expression, the function T bool, and that is type of boolean return, disable tracking and all. So that is the implementation of your generic repository. And if you have any doubts, just asking me, because that generic repository is actually used in lots of videos. So there is a no discussion on that. So if you know about the filters, that is the expression filters, where your query is exist, and you know that iQueryable data include disable tracking is all. So everything is inside in your code. So disable tracking, query equals to query dot as no tracking, filter is not null, update if you want to update it, attach the entity, and after that the entity state is modified. The next one is update async. So dbset dot attach entity, now entry entity dot state is modified. So add range, so here we have the code of the generic repository. Now after created the generic repository, you have to add unit of work in the library management system. So create a new directory, that is the name is unit of work, and inside the unit of work you have to add a single property or method. The name is is actually use iGeneric repository interface. Okay, so wrap the generic repository under the unit of work. Okay, so here we have a public interface iUnit of work, and that is implemented with the unit of work class. Okay, you know that under the iUnit of work we have only the single method, that is generic repository, that is the response type is t, where it is the class, and also we have a save method. You know about the save context or save changes, and unit of work class is implemented by the iUnit of work interface. So here we have a simple example of unit of work as well as generic repository in the library management system. Okay, so unit of work is use also iDisposable, where your object is disposed after used. So this dot dispose equals to true. I generic repository of t, generic repository of t, where t is a class name. So I generic repository repo equals to new generic repository of t. Inside it you can take context. So here we have a underscore context. Now the next one is everything is always created. Now the next one is to add, that is the class. Now the next one is to add a dependency injection, or you can say that inject a dependency in the IOC, that is inbuilt IOC, that is add scoped iUnit of work, and iUnit of work you know that implemented by the iUnit of work class. Okay, so everything is very well done, and now the next one is to do, that is the create and add models in the models folder, that is book and category. You know that a category have multiple books, like ASP.NET web technology is the category. So inside the web technology we have lots of books. Okay, so book we have some category, we have some attributes of the book like ID, title, author, publisher date, ISBN number, and all. Like the total copies and available of copies, ISBN number, that is the related to the books class. But you know that a type of the category you have to mention also inside the book, and the latest feature of the ASP.NET Core 7, that is the required attribute, you have to just add with the required keyword, just add it here instead of data annotations. So here we have a required keyword. Just after that, public protector. Here we have a data type modifiers like the required. All these are required things. Now the next one is the category. Now I want to add it here. Now after that, you have to add category, that is category ID and title. And you know that the mapping between the book and the category, that is a category have multiple books. You know that. So actually a book model or the book class is actually depend on the category model, category class. After creating the mapping, or you can say relationship between the book and the category, you have to add book and the category in the ApplicationDbContext class. Now after adding the context, adding it both in the ApplicationDbContext class, you have to migrate the database. After migration is done, your database is created. You have to do perform some operation on the books as well as the category. You know that it's a CMS based project and it's a database management system project, and it will done everything inside in categories as well as the books as well as and all such things. So here we have a category ID, category, total copies and available copies right here. So like that, category and underscore the categories. So if you have any doubts related to the models, that is book and category, and you want to add some more fields in the books as well as the category, you can just comment it under the videos. And you know that both are actually added add in the ApplicationDbContext, and after that you have to migrate the project. So thank you guys for watching this video, and keep watching all other videos which is related to ASP.NET Core. And don't forget, please subscribe my channel and also press the bell icon. And if you want to get more videos, latest videos related to library management system, because that is the first video tutorial, you know that, and I will provide you better video tutorials of library management system and remaining tutorials like inventory management system and low management system and all I will provide you soon. Promise you, I will provide you soon. So don't worry, I will help you in such types of projects, and you will create very well. Thank you guys for watching this video, and keep watching all others. And don't forget, please subscribe my channel and press the bell icon. And if you like this video, hit the like button also. Thank you very much for watching.